A lofty vision is the highest value, low effort task that you can use as a founder to give you the ultimate first impression. But no one ever really uses it because they aren't confident in their vision, or when they build a vision, they try to build it alone. So it absolutely sucks. And it never gets its way into first impressions. Well, today I'm going to show you how I use my lofty vision to generate tens of millions of sales for my startup. And I use it in every first impression. And I'm going to be giving you 2 tips to give you the best first impression that you can have, whether you're meeting prospects, customers, or partners. Because when you're bootstrapping, every bloody lead counts. First tip when it comes to writing a lofty vision: do not create your lofty vision alone. If you do it alone, it won't generate any sales. It'll feel absolutely lackluster in your impression, and you'll feel like a robotic consultant. Here are some of the ones that I came up with for my first company. 1 million tech jobs for veterans by 2030. That's a smart goal, and it is lame. The world's best aptitude test that only focuses on potential. That's a product goal. And last but not least, the world's first tech company powered by people with just skills. That's an okay one, but it's still terrible. All of them miss the mark anytime I use them in a first impression or anytime I use them in a sales meeting. So why did they? Well, they're not market focused. They're just ambitions that I had as a founder, and they're not courageous at all. So bringing that all together just made them out like I was slapping my ego at them or telling people my goals. And that'd be like walking down the street. And as you're walking down the street, you just have a sign on your chest with your ultimate goal just for you. That's sort of cool, but it doesn't invite any conversation. It probably just invites heckling. So we want to avoid that. How we can avoid that is always craft your lofty vision with a team. Never do it alone. They will be able to fact check you. They'll be able to consensus check you. They'll be able to check it for pretty much everything, but at a really simple level. Most people that work with you or work for you will probably just tell you it sucks. So that's tip number 1. Don't try to create a lofty vision alone. Tip number 2, make it a market vision instead of a company vision. For example, if you label a market problem and not a company problem, it becomes a door for shared beliefs versus sort of like a tower you're shouting from, which is just ego and a little bit of vanity. And I get it, you're suffering, but it doesn't work because it doesn't invite any conversation, any inspiration, any interrogation, any ability for anyone to contend with it or follow it. So how do we do that? Well, we created 3 steps after doing this wrong a lot to make sure that we always had a lofty vision at my old company, and now we give it to people at Counterparts so they can use it every day, in every moment, in every first introduction. The steps are really, really simple. The first thing you do is you name the status quo, holding back the market change. So that one blocker that's stopping people from changing, that we all talk about, that we all know is a blocker, you got to name it. The second thing we do is we name the uncomfortable truths that underpin it and reframe those uncomfortable truths as an opportunity we're all missing. The third thing we do is we create an impossible goal that anyone in the market can take up to overcome the inertia of the status quo and to take advantage of the missed opportunity of the uncomfortable truth. And then last but not least, we name that new normal if we win. 25-year perspective, what does it look like? What does the future look like? You've got to do it. You can't just put the aspirational goal. You've got to tell people what a possible ending could be. All of those 3 things come together. You call out the bullshit. You reframe the bullshit. You have an almost impossible goal that you can inspire people. You ground it back in those uncomfortable truths, and you name a new normal. How does that sound? Well, when you bring it all together, it'll sound like this. Hey, I'm Tom. We are going after this almost impossible goal to take and transform on these uncomfortable truths for this better future, which is your new normal. Sounds sort of awkward, so let me put in the bits that matter. Quick example, circa 2018, my first company after doing this with my team for the first time. Let's have a look. We used to have, remember, 1 million veterans in tech jobs by 2030. Sort of lame, not inspirational, pretty vain. What the status quo was is experience matters most when getting a job. That was the status quo we were coming up against with my old company that ran an aptitude testing platform to find your potential. The uncomfortable truth we used to call out is someone's potential is always greater than experience, but no one ever talks about it, which is why 38% of people are underemployed. Huge uncomfortable truth. We sort of all ignore the fact that most people hate their jobs because they're underutilized and because we're focusing on not what they could know, but what they already know. The new normal, so the almost impossible goal became solving underemployment. The new normal, if we win, is human asset replaces human capital or human resources as a term. So people can become an asset and their futures can become a little bit more predictable. Therefore, we can invest in more of them and stop treating them like a commodity. So as we bring this all together, we used to say, hey, I'm Tom. As we think about all the tech jobs the opportunity of the large amount of tech jobs in the market, one thing that is really holding us back is that experience matters most in getting a job. And if experience matters most when getting a job, we miss the opportunity of potential. The idea that you can always know more than you already know. Well, guess what? We have a vision for that. Do you want to hear it? Yes, we do. Our almost impossible goal we are running at to take advantage of that uncomfortable truth is we want to solve underemployment when we think about the tech skills problem. And that means driving potential over experience in both recruitment and talent mobility, and shifting the way we think about our labor market from one of being assets, not resources. Boom. Once we said that, again and again and again, it would land. We found advocates in every customer. We found strategic partners in hard-to-reach companies. So, to double down, why does this work? Really, really simple. We're not on a tower telling everyone where we're going, and they should join us and climb our tower. We're right on the ground. We're telling people, hey, we're all distracted by the status quo. We've missed the opportunity of the gold mine over here. And at the same time, we're holding up a pickaxe very tightly with our uncomfortable truths. And we're saying, we want this future. And there is the end state, which is the trucks full of gold on the other side. And we're doing that all on the ground, not from our tower. And by doing that, we invite shared belief. By being a market transformational goal versus a company goal or a product goal or a smart goal, we invite shared belief through discussion, through support, or even just through them contending the idea, because the idea is bigger than our company. And if we get to shared belief, we get to shared learning. And if we get to shared work from shared learning, we get the ultimate goal of being a business with customers, which will lead to low churn, high retention, and lifetime value, which all comes from once you get to a place of shared work and behavior transformation with a client, it's really, really hard to lose them because you have had a huge impact on where they're going. And to me, that is always the ultimate goal, but that's my 2 cents. Now, if you're going, holy crap, that sounds pretty good, mate, how do you make it fucking great? Really, really, really simple. I'm going to give you 2 pro tips that can turn that ultimate impression into an extremely memorable impression. So we're just going to add memorable on top of that, because memorable, the speed of their introductions to other people that also want to have that shared belief will be much faster. So here are 2 tips as a bonus that you can get this from ultimate to ultimate plus memorable. Pro tip number 1, after you say your vision statement, rather than just moving on to the next part of the introduction, pull up and say, hey, how does that land with you? Do you believe in the uncomfortable truth and seeing it as a missed opportunity? What do you think of the new normal? Is it something do you think we should aspire to? Do you believe it could possibly happen, even just a little bit? Those questions allow a moment for reflection, allow a customer to qualify as someone that's a shared believer, or allow someone to go, hey man, this isn't for me. Fantastic. That is still entirely memorable, especially if someone says it isn't for me. You can say, well, tell me where your doubts are. Or even better, after you qualify that they just don't want to change their mind, maybe we should work together. Here's some other people I would recommend. All of those things are extremely memorable and create an outstanding and ultimate first impression. So pro tip number 1, after you drop the vision statement on them, ask it how it lands and give them time to reflect and contend, support, believe in it, and just talk to you about it. A great discussion after dropping the vision is the best place to be. Pro tip number 2. If you start getting really good at this, the other thing that you can do to be more compelling, which therefore you can be more memorable, is to stack the uncomfortable truths. So some of the uncomfortable truths that we talk about at Counterpart OS, our ultimate vision is we is greater than I when you build a business. The uncomfortable truths we're contending with is the whole entrepreneurial system is driven by those that extract value, grow really quick, raise a lot of capital, exit, versus create value. It's not all about growth, it's about skills. We're here to provide enduring and sustaining transformation to our customers, and we can do all of that with long distribution partners, and we share those wins. So that's a huge uncomfortable truth. But if you wanted to make that more compelling, I would say, hey, the status quo in the market that we're contending with is that you must raise capital to be successful as a startup. Well, I'd love to tell you some missed opportunities because we're so focused on that. The first uncomfortable truth is, hey, if we are focused on raising capital, maybe what we're really trying to do is run a get-rich-quick scheme, and rarely get-rich-quick schemes work. So the missed opportunity is get rich slow by creating value. And you create value by focusing on customers first and adding value to where they are. That's a huge uncomfortable truth. But if we were to go further, we could say, hey, the missed opportunity that we get so distracted by raising capital, we miss the complete opportunity of strategic co-sell distribution partnerships, who generally provide an upfront purchase or an upfront revenue guarantee to make sure that they're focused. We completely miss that opportunity because capital raising takes so much time that we have no room for any other strategic thinking until the raise is done. The third uncomfortable truth is if you raise capital to give you runway, then you start to build a business for someone else and not just for you. And if you start to build that business for someone else, it cannot be your life's work. So therefore, the only option is to exit. It is not to create any more capital. And uncomfortable truth number 4, if you raise a lot of capital and you've got there quickly, and at the end, you've become a prince and a princess, and you realize it was all meaningless, and you miss the opportunity from being free from that and seeing business as a game of growth, which is a finite game, to business as a game of infinite play, which is focused on personal development and skills. That is a infinite game, and you just miss the opportunity to play it if you do raise capital. And last but not least, the uncomfortable truth is if you do raise capital, you sometimes miss the opportunity of doing the hard work to get product market fit because you don't spend enough time with customers. And if you miss that opportunity, you move from a mindset of sticking with it to staying alive, and you get further and further away from your lofty vision, and it becomes less and less valuable. But if you avoid that and you start with a lofty vision, it is always valuable, and customers will take bets on you trying to get there versus investors taking bets on how much market share you will dominate with your novel idea. So we would say something like that. We have one impossible goal to run at all of those uncomfortable truths. We is greater than I. The idea that you will always build a great business with partners versus you won't always build one with great capital is what we're going after. We want value creators to overcome value extractors. For the simple, impossible goal, when it comes to business, belief will always beat competence, and partnership is the only model that creates enduring value creation. If you think of that lofty vision statement, you can now see we have listed off a lot more uncomfortable truths and reframed them as missed opportunities. That shows sophistication, thought, but it's also an opportunity that before you give them the vision statement, all of those doubts that were in the way of them believing in the impossible goal becoming a reality or the new normal, we've brought them before it, which means they're just obstacles. And if we've reframed each obstacle as an opportunity, then they don't become objections for them to contend with afterwards when you ask how it lands with them. All it is like, you've really thought about this. You know, I wasn't really there until you said, oh, that is a missed opportunity. So if you're having terrible first impressions, that is my approach to having the ultimate memorable and compelling impression, whether you are meeting a potential prospect, a customer, a partner, or even someone that you're hiring. Give it a go. Best of luck. And remember, we will always be greater than I when building a business.